Welcome back, everyone. This is the L3DT tutorial for tools and getting started with the basic map creation. In this video, we will be doing a little test thing. I recommend you do a little test one as well, and then you can go off and follow the same steps when you do it officially. So we're going to start by making us a new folder here. We are going to title this, and it's on our desktop, L3DT. And I'm just going to do underscore test map. Or you know what? I'm just going to do tools. So you can learn all that. So we've got a folder here, which we will point to after we've got it launched up. Open L3DT. You can go ahead and full screen it once it's loaded in. And here we have this. You'll see up here we got all these options, and make sure you got the right build so you don't have restrictions here. And we're going to go File, New Project. Here we have our project types. There is a designable map, blank designable map, which we'll be doing, and then there's Parallel, Fractal, and blank height map, which have each one of those as a different algorithm that it uses. But we are going to do blank designable map. Coming in here, let's move this up, not quite all the way. We want it, where was it? Right there. I'm gonna go actually 4096. Okay, and then we're gonna move this one to about right here so that you get world size 2048. And then we're not going to split it or do edge wrapping. We're just going to press next. Go ahead and go to 128, or you can leave it at 64, but I'm going to go to 128. That gives you 32 by 32 pixels, and we will continue. Now you have a complete square of that map frame size that is just, think of it as just like a flat grass plane, nothing going on with it, right? But what we want to do is we're going to make an island. If you were doing everything inland, then you could work with that. But for this, we're setting it up as if you do your own island. You get the best. I think that's the best way to go when you're doing your own area for DayZ. So we're going to come over here and we are going to put this at -10. This is setting the, oh, sorry, we got to tick that box. -10. That is setting the brush to this altitude. And this is the brush. We have it selected, design map brush. If you scroll your wheel, you get different sizes. Now, keep in mind, this is a very large, I mean, you even got your little, it marks kilometers down here. This is really large. We only need a small little testing area, but first we're going to make this all ocean. So we're going to click and drag with a bigger brush, and we are making this the ocean. Okay, now we're going to come back over here, and we're going to put this at 100. Sea level is going to be at 0. Which we'll set in a second, but now we're going to shrink down pretty small here, and we're just gonna, it'll look kind of pixelated at first, but we're just going to give us a little shape for our island like this. Okay, and nothing fancy, we're just starting with that. And now you can drag this out of your way. If you see up here on the tabs, these are going to be the different layers that you have. And there's different kinds. So if we went up here to layers, oh, I guess that one doesn't show it, but there'll be these right here. So you got your mask, alpha, texture, light map, terrain, and so forth. What we need now that we've done like a shape design is the height map and the water map. So we're going to come up to operations. We're going to click on calculation wizard, and we're going to just tick these two, height field and water map. We can get these other ones later whenever, but this is just a start. And we're going to press next. We're going to clear existing flood water plane. We want sea level, not lake, or for the water type, and we'll do auto flood those and calculate, and then we will go next. Okay, that all looks good. We'll leave that and go next and let it do its thing. Right now it's inflating height map. All right, here we are. So now you're seeing the water map tab layer. We're going to head over to the height field. And then you'll see just the height field. So those are the edges. This is all that sea land that we made and all that. We don't need the design map brush right now, so we're going to close that. We're going to come up here to tools. This is the tab you'll be going to a lot. So we click on tools, and then here's what we've got right here that's available for the generated layers that we have. So we already did the design map brush. We want to go to height field editor 3D. This is going to open up Sapphire plugin, which is already built in. See this up here? It's going to load this, and it's going to give you a 3D rendered space that you can edit in. Let me give this just a second. Okay, we're going to move this so that we can see this little information tab up here. Gives you your position, altitude, FPS, texture, and all these other good things. Okay. And then we have our height field tools. If this happens to go away, you can toggle it with, I believe it's H, or just go back up to your edit and yeah, see there's H, how it says that, and then you just select height field tools. Now we're going to hold right click and we can look up. So I purposely didn't have the terrain very high. So you can use WASD to move around. Spacebar will bring you right at the lowest level of where your camera is and put you at walking like speed, which you can see up here. Or you can press spacebar again to go back to hover, or click on that. And then you can hold E to rise higher, or R to drop lower. But we just need to head over to the island that we made. Let's just take a second here. We can go quicker if we click on turbo. Now, just to go over a couple of view things. So here we have the base land, right? And it's almost right there with the water. That's okay, because you don't want to be too high above that when you're actually trying to generate your things. This will allow you to do cool things such as this, where you can utilize the water levels right away, and it also keeps you from having extreme elevations. So let's start by overviewing a couple of these view modes. So there's skybox. You can turn that on and off. We don't need it right now. And then there's wire mode, which you might want to see certain perspectives in this mode. It can be helpful. I don't generally use it unless I need to kind of see what type of shapes and things that are happening as I make adjustments. And then you got your poly mode. There is texture mode, but we don't have a texture map on here right now, so that's going to be a little bit different. That will change how things look. So we'll go back to poly mode. Height field tools. We have the point and grab, number one. So your scroll wheel. This will adjust your radius. Like I said, for movements, WASD. I guess if you spam them, they'll yell at you. So when you click and move your mouse up, you will be able to point and grab and pull terrain up, as you can see. If you move your mouse down, it will go down. The wider this is, the more the radius of the brush will grab, and you'll see that adjust. So, if you're doing like a mountain and you wanted to trail it off a little bit, and you can always check by hovering your brush over an area. If you look up in the corner over here, you can see your, is it altitude? Let's see. Yes, the altitude adjust, which isn't adjusting right now. Hang on. Oh, that altitude is marking the camera. So you can always go to there, but I believe there's a way you can have it mark where your mouse is as well. Next tool is the raise brush. Say you wanted to get to about this level of the mountain. Well, you could come in here, move tools, raise brush. Always double check on there. Sometimes it's really finicky. It likes to jump to a different tool. So just double check that it says the title of the one you want. So there's radius, that'll adjust as you can see when you move your mouse wheel. Again, if you hold right click, that'll move your camera from where you're at. And then this is strength. So raise brush is similar to the point and grab, but it's not locked into one place when you click. So if you wanted to move more terrain about to this level, like I said, then you can click and hold and go ahead and move it around. If you want to make it stronger, we're at 50 there. Let's double that to 100, and then you'll notice that it's pulling up a little more with a little more intensity there. And if you wanted less, you could do, let's say 10. Then it's going to be really subtle. So you can get pretty fine-tuned on adjustments that you'd like with the raise brush. We're going to go ahead and go to the lower brush next, which is the exact opposite. So you click that and it's going to lower things with either the strength up or down that you put, and it does that same function. Okay, now let's go back into tools and we're going to do set 2. This is going to set the height map, or wherever your cursor is at a chosen elevation. So it's a 0.00 right now. So if we click and move, that's putting us at 0.00, which is right there. It's an equal plane with sea level. So it's kind of making it this weird green. That's the way it registers right here. In game, it would be like you're walking in basically a puddle kind of thing. Like, now let's put set to maybe 60. And that puts this about there, which is a little bit less than the 100 which we started with. And then if we were to put maybe 900, it's going to do a tiny bit of a step up, and you can go from there. So you just play with your values and adjust that. It'll go higher or lower. You can even cut straight through things like this, which that'll work perfect for our next little part. We're going to make a couple plateaus here by going to maybe 7,500. So we're going to make this big old thing right here and another one right here that kind of connects. And we're gonna turn this with some of the other tools. We're gonna use it. So remember the point and grab. Let's go ahead and just make this a little bigger and pull this up a little bit like it's a mountain. And now we got these ugly edges, right? So we're gonna come down here and go to the cliffs tool, and if you look on here, we switched out of the cliff tool. Hang on. Sorry about that. So the cliffs tool is basically like a set of saw blades that are parallel to each other. And I've noticed they work best when you see how there's two there, and that was at 900. If we went like 7,500, that's like the height that we set this. They're parallel, right? And so they will make a cut at that height that makes kind of a cliff. It's like running a double saw blade in there. So if we went back to like 900, this would be a much thinner cliff. And I found it works best to either just do little taps or to come in and fully like move it back and forth, kind of like a saw, like you're cutting. Now these are really subtle edges we're putting in right here. But, if you have more than that, let's just say like maybe 2,500, where there's a little bit more of a altitude on that, then you can keep swiping it and you get your little cliff edges, right? So that is the cliff tool. Really like that one. Here's one of my favorites, avalanche. So when we come in here, sorry, I got to reselect that. Avalanche, it's good to click and then you got it. Oops. Control Z if you have little things like that happen. It's like, there we go. So we're going to get rid of this hard edge by using the avalanche tool. If you click and hold, you'll notice on here, well, you have a minimum slope, which is at 0 right now, and a run length. This is how far the land that you click on that erodes away is going to run. So it goes to 50 there. It actually falls down pretty far, right? If you didn't want it coming out this far and you just wanted to soften up there, let's say we drop this down to even 1. Then it's going to fall just straight down, and you can adjust from there. When you use this tool, you're going to get these little spots that come out like that, almost like fallen rocks. They'll look like weird little bumps when you transfer that in game. So you might want to use the smooth tool to smooth those out. But I like to shrink this down even, and you can use it as like a carving tool and shape different areas. Tons that you can do with this, and it's all about playing with the values and the size and seeing what that adds up to according to what you're wanting to do. If you wanted even more run length, like 500, oh no, it'll limit you. See, so that's one nice thing about this is you'll be able to see the limitations. It'll go red for you, and it won't let you if your values are off. So this is the avalanche tool. Another way that you could work on hard edges, other than just the smooth tool, which will just kind of round them off, is the bulldozer. Bulldozer, I like to think about is like you have all these kind of tools that make it look like you're naturally sculpting this, or like it's eroding away and different things. You know, you're pulling it, almost managing it like clay, perhaps. But the bulldozer is like more of a man-made style tool. So we'll click on bulldozer, and if you click and drag, all right, so that's already flat. But if a bulldozer were to like run through here, right, it could start making a flat plane in the way that you pull it. And you have to play around with it because it does adjust to elevation. So whether you go from top down to bottom, if you pull this, you see you're going to get an edge slope, which is also up there in your tool settings. And you let go, and then you have that. And it fills the sides as well. Or you can go from bottom to top and get that same kind of a result. So this tool is really cool. You can cut right through something, but then it just gives it that look like it just got all like cleaned up by a bunch of big tools and things. And so say you wanted to carve like a little road path that kind of spirals up this mountain, you could at least start with that before you smooth it out with something along these lines, and then see how this goes up, and then you could go have it spiral up to the top of this mountain. So that's the bulldozer. Pretty fun. You play with the settings, edge width, you can adjust with your radius by the mouse wheel. Now let's pop into the leveler. What does it do? It levels things, obviously. You pick your level that you're at, and you move. You want things up here, you move it that way, and you're leveling. So this is our nice little test mountain here. So we've done that. Now we are going to go to level at. This one is a little bit different. Oops, sorry. Don't hit WASD when you select your tool. You need to click it first. I've noticed. Maybe even right click so that it doesn't accidentally do anything. So level at. You actually set the height on here, and it will level to that, plain and simple. So let's go back to tools and go to smooth. Like I talked about earlier, see all these? You don't want that if you had too much runoff or things. Go over that with smooth, or you can just level and flatten out there again. Now look, it's very softly smoothing. Or we went back to avalanche there, gosh dang it. Smooth tool. You can adjust the end cycles on there for how much its intensity and strength is for the smoothing. So we can come in there and smooth out all those hard edges. You could do it to things like this, and as you can see, it really softens things up and just kind of bubbles them away. Lots of ways to use it. And then just keep in mind, with your heights and things like this may not look very big from where we're at right here, but this is a very large mountain in game. So that's something to keep in mind. We have our basic design that we did, right, of this area, and you can adjust, height and shape of all this. You could rise up higher, and if you wanted to, make a more specific, like see how we can kind of have an opening here. Oh, you know what? I forgot parallel noise. So before we do that opening, let's hop into parallel noise and let me show you what that does really fast. So coming over here to the mountain or just even the ground and having parallel noise selected. When you click this, and you can adjust its strength and octaves. I usually leave them at default and just do taps. I like the tapping because it will twist and contort the terrain so that it kind of becomes, well, like the sharper angles, the noise, right? And so you get that look with it. I like to use it subtly. You could do it more intense where you hold it down and make these, you know, deeper divots and chasms and things, but and it doesn't look, to me, it doesn't look as good, you know, I mean, to each their own, but if you're going for, you know, more of a realism or things, you want to keep working at it. So you could really rough it up like this and then come in and, you know, feather it up with, you know, avalanche or the, you know, and then you're getting some cool shapes. So there's lots of ways you can use it, or even the smooth tool. But yeah, that's parallel noise. You can use it intensely or just subtly like this, and you're good to go. So back to what we were talking about before, we're going to go ahead and do a set to, and we're going to change it from 7500 back to, let's do like 150. And we are going to come up a little bit higher, and I'll show you how just to like shape a little bit. Like say we wanted to make kind of a bay here for like a big shipping area, right? So we can make a little bit more of a clean look with a little, make it a little jagged or something. And then when we're a little higher away, sometimes the rendering's weird. You can use your plus and minus key on the numpad, I believe, to adjust resolution and how it loads, especially for distances. But let's just pull this over here and then make it a little smaller so we can like do softer transition where it gets a little smaller. We'll just keep shrinking it down a little bit. We're clicking and dragging with that set. Maybe have it like bump out here just a little bit. Go a little smaller. You know, something kind of like that. So like the land comes out that way a little bit, and then over here it can, you know, come that way, and then you have kind of this little opening for like ships and stuff to come in. So you just kind of shrink that down. You can come and design your whole border, and if you need to check on things, press escape. It will back you back out to the layers and frames pages where you can jump between those, and you can look at the actual height map. You could go to water map so you can see how it looks with like that water surrounding. Once you have a texture map, it's really a good way to check out how it looks as well. And when you're ready to go back in there, you just go back up to Tools and go into Height Filled Editor. So you can shape the whole island exactly how you want, play around with it, go through each of these tools and just experiment. It's lots of fun. There's so many things you can do. Yeah, just remember to do it the way I showed you with, so you got your sea level and things, and then you can go from there, and you can always add more islands and whatnot later, expand. That's the fun part about doing it from scratch. So yeah, that is just a basic overview of the fundamental, I guess you would say, height map 3D editor tools primarily, and just the general functioning of using L3DT or Sapphire. We made a file earlier. Let me just show you that as well. You can go to save your project as, and then go to where you save that on your desktop or wherever you saved that. And L3DT tools, you can come and revisit this later. You can just name this test or whatever. Tool test, doesn't matter, and you save that, and it's going to save all of those for you. Each one of these will kind of have their own little thing. It may even generate a couple folders for you. And Yep, you get some weird errors, but they don't really mean much. And then here we go. You could close out of that. And then inside you will have a mipmaps and all the files associated. And you'll just be able to load that back up next time you're in there. And you could build off of that or just start fresh with that video when you're ready to do your official build. So that's up to you. Thanks for watching.